watching a PC Whiz Kid review. Today we're looking at the latest from Belkin. It's the Linksys WRT3200ACM Wi-Fi router. Now this one here supports Tri-Stream 160. That's double the bandwidth they're saying with the fastest 5 gigahertz speeds out there today, right? Now Tri-Stream 160, what does that really mean? Well, previous generations routers worked all the way up to a bandwidth of 80 megahertz, wide channel, right? This one works at a different bandwidth, 160 megahertz. So more data can be pushed back and forth up to 2.6 gigabits. 1.8 gigahertz dual core processor on this one. Okay, so it's faster. It's got 256 megabytes of flash memory, by the way, and 512 megs of RAM. Open source ready. So if you're keen to customize the OS on this one, you can flash the firmware and install the open source firmware. But I do like how basically if you have devices that support the MU-MIMO technology, you will see the increase in the improvements in your Wi-Fi. Okay, this will allow you to speed up your bandwidth of your device and open up multiple simultaneous connections with this router to maximize the bandwidth. You don't have to share your connection with everything in the house, for example, right? So you're really going to be able to notice a difference, and I did. Now, looking at the list of features on the side of the box, let's just go through it here quickly. Talked about the dual core processor, right? So improvement there, it's faster, 1.8 gigahertz. Open source firmware, so that's for your OS updating. Talked about the memory. Comes with an app, by the way, so you can control everything through an app, which is nice, and monitor it. Have that on your Android or Apple device. And, well, USB 3.0 and eSATA, that is awesome. I loved connecting an external hard drive to the back of this thing and then sharing that over the network with everything. That is just absolute greatness. And let's take it out of the box here. So, quick unboxing so you can see it. It actually looks very similar to the previous router that I reviewed a while back, the Linksys 1900. Actually, that's the previous generation router that I'm comparing this to. It looks so much like it. The antennas are pretty much identical. If I looked at it closely, they behave the same. They attach the same way. You know, toolless design. You just screw them onto the sides. There's 4 of them, and the cable here as well, very similar. Flat cable does the job very well, and that's what you would connect, for example, to your modem. Okay, so that would connect to your modem, and then there's a WLAN or a internet connection, I should say, at the back, and I'll show you that in a second. The adapter here, pretty straightforward, nothing fancy. Okay, as you can see, and here's the connector. It does have its own separate power switch on the router, which is nice. I'll show you that too. And the documentation on how to set all this up is on here. So no worries. Okay, you're covered. Here, again, is the list of all the features. You can pause the screen if you're interested, but I pretty much said them all. We're going to look at the front, back side of the router so you can see it more in detail. So no worries. But here are all the features just for your information. Now, I'm going to attach one of these antennas. You can see how easy that is. Okay, I've already attached the other ones. And it just screws there, and then after you have that fastened in there, not too tight, just make sure it's nice and snug, then you just point it always upwards. So if you have the router sitting on your desk, table, wherever, always have them facing up. If you're going to hang it on the wall, then you can obviously bend them down, and I'll show you that in just a second. Let's look at these connections at the back, okay, a little bit closer. On the left, you've got the, or actually, so we'll do the right. The right, you've got the power, the reset, USB, and eSATA combo. You've got a USB 3.0, your internet yellow connector, which is for your cable modem, and your 4 Ethernet ports and a WPS on the left. Ventilation throughout the top and the bottom, pretty much identical. There's no fan on the inside. It's very nice and quiet. The internals of this router is new, so even though on the outside it might look the same, you know, it looks the same on the outside here, but it's not on the inside, okay? The power, internet, tells you if you're connected or not to the internet, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. If you have anything connected to it, those will turn on as well. eSATA, USB indicators if you have an external drive at the back, and your 4 Ethernet ports and your WPS indicator as well. Now, I mentioned earlier if you wanted to hang this on the wall, well, you can also turn this and face them upwards as such, or to the sides, but preferably always face these up, not down, if you're going to have it sitting on your desk like that. Let me show you actually the bottom of it so you get an idea of how you would hook this up on the wall. The feet have a little hole there with a groove, so you would put the screws on the wall and then kind of hook this up right on those little hooks there. Alright, so going through the interface, once you go through the manual and you connect yourself to it and you put in your password to log in, you'll be able to see all these different settings. Okay, the network map setting, for example, shows you everything that's connected to the router, whether it's on the 5 gigahertz or the 2.4 gigahertz band. You can see everything from here. Very nice. The external storage, if you plug in something that is compatible and works, it'll display it. Speed test is great. I've been using that a couple times to see consistent speed with my internet service provider. The connectivity settings, here you can change and customize things appropriately, whether you want this to be used as a wireless bridge, a repeater, a router, static IP, DHCP, whether you want to restrict the range of IP addresses that are given out to everyone in the home, for example. All of that, right? You can have your controls in place. It does have all the administrative qualities that you would expect in a high-end router. This does it for you. One thing I want to point out, though, when it comes to the wireless, if you want to use the channel width of 160 or 80 megahertz, you do have to set the network mode to AC only, right? And the channel can't be auto, basically. And you have to have the hardware that supports that. From the security point of view, well, that's pretty standard. Nothing out of the ordinary here, right? When you go to set up your port forwarding and all of that, it's there. You have the options to control and set those up. And of course, all of these things here that I've just showed you can be controlled mostly with the app as well. So you can monitor things remotely on your Android or iOS device. Now I'm going to do some testing. The testing that I'm doing, I'm disabling the internet. I'm going to just test on my LAN, on my local area network in the house. I'm going to do some transfer of files. I'm going to do a before and after. So right now, this is the new router, okay, the WRT3200ACM. This is how it's set up. This is the maximum speed that it supports on those channels that I have currently set up for my tests. And I put them in there. And I have one computer set up on one end, Wi-Fi, another computer on the other side. I'm going to transfer a 8 meg MP3 file, and also I'm going to do another test and transfer a 700 meg video file. And I'm going to do it on the old router, and then I'm going to disconnect it, and then I'm going to connect the new router and do the same tests again. And then here are basically the results that I'm going to get through DiskBench. I recorded how long it took to do the same file transfer. Are you waiting? Are you ready for this? Okay. Again, comparing these two routers, previous generation and the new generation, this is going to blow you away. Check out these results. Before, about 6 megs per second. Look at the now, 12, 13, 22 megs per second. That is just incredible. Incredible change in how things are being transferred on my local area network using Wi-Fi speeds. I mean, that is just insane. Insane speeds. And I did another test using this iPerf utility that basically tests all of these connections all at once, and not sharing the bandwidth, but maximizing the bandwidth. So using that MU-MIMO technology, basically, that I was telling you about, we're able to see the megabits per second, okay, and the megabytes per second that we're getting there. It's absolutely crazy how fast the transfers and how this is able to cope with simultaneous connections to all of these different devices on the same network without one suffering more than the other. And that's the whole intent of this, right? You have to have the hardware that supports MU-MIMO in order to use that technology as well. Now, I love this router. Definitely recommend it. It's a no-brainer. It's a beautiful thing. Whether you like the looks of it or not, that's another thing to talk about. But I mean, it works, and that's what really counts. You want to see a difference. You want to see improvement. It's secure. It's fast. Love it. I'd like to thank Linksys for providing it. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I'll add the latest pricing for it below in the description. And again, thank you for watching.